Hi guys, I'm Melina, and for 23 years, I literally can't believe I'm saying that, I've been helping women get unstuck and feel healthy, fit, and confident in their own skin. This is the Melina Method Podcast, where nutrition meets mindset, fitness gets unraveled to be your superpower, and we really dive in to see the real you for who you are. You guys, we are here. This is episode 1 of a new journey. You know, being in the industry 23 years, I'm obviously not new, and I'm really just excited to be here. I'm humbled to be here and really finally kind of speak my voice, speak my methods, speak my truth of all the things that not only like that I've done, let's say, in the industry, but just what I've experienced and really applying that to all of you. One of the things, just to really set the tone here for this show, is your body, right? Your body, how you look, is a direct reflection of how you feel about yourself on the inside. So it's super important for me to really dive into what's helped me get unstuck, what has guided me to this confident life that I've always lived. Where am I at now? How to apply that to life and everything that we're kind of going through in general on our journeys called life, right? Your health obviously is so important, but nutrition and fitness are tools that they bring something else out of you. And so we're really going to get into that in the episodes to come. But today I'm really just diving into who I am and how I'm finally here. I'm finally, at this podcast, which is so crazy because like full circle moment, there's like a Barry's right behind me. And for those of you who know me, I had, that was a little chapter of my career, being a founding trainer for Barry's. I love Barry so much. So it's funny that I'm sitting here at my studio space and, having this Barry's logo and behind me. It was like full circle moment. But yeah, like who am I? Like 23 years, like how do we unpack that, right? In a short episode. I began my journey. My career's insane and I'm grateful for it. And let me just actually go back. The last 3 years I've been a little stuck, right? And I'm not stuck in life. Life goes on. I have 2 beautiful children. And I'm really going to get into that and kind of why I did the rebrand and how I created the show and the idea of the show. And that comes from my 23 years experience. So 23 years ago, where was Melina? Melina was 19. Gosh, I think I've been in this industry even longer. I'm almost 43, yes. And when I was 18, I was in college and I was always like very active in the gym and, I was active in high school and I loved going to the gym. And I remember my apartment complex was I was going to Cal State Long Beach and I lived there. Dorms were full. It's a commuter school. And so there were a lot of people lived in off-campus apartments, which were like dorms. We had shuttles, all the things. But there was a Bally Total Fitness in my parking lot. And of course I got like a gym membership and I was regular. I loved going to the gym and I started getting really into cycling classes. And I loved it. And I just remember as being a regular, the instructor there that I always went to, Linda Bookbinder, she's still around. I haven't connected with her in years, but if you're listening or if you get a chance to listen, shout out to you. She was like, you need to become an instructor. And I was like 18 years old. And I was like, 8? I was like, really? She goes, yeah, you're in college. You're here all the day. We need subs. Like, why don't you get certified? So I went through the Johnny G spinning certification to become a spinning instructor for Bally Total Fitness. And that was the start of my fitness career. I started teaching, became a trainer there, college, that was my job. Loved fitness. And I'll never forget, actually, I remember it was like my second year in college. And this was before I became a certified trainer. I was just doing spin classes. I went to Greece. I'm Greek American. And I went to Greece with my friends, and we went to Greece for like 6 weeks, like a while. We do that, Greek Americans. We go to Greece for the summers. So I go to Greece, and I came back, and I was never really like obsessed with my weight or whatever, but all my friends were very petite, small, girls, and I'm 5'8.5", so I'm taller, and I'm just a little bit bigger than them, right? They're all like 5'1", and I had a little bit of an insecurity around that, and I don't know why. It kind of started. I started noticing that, like, now you're like a woman, adulthood, 18, 19, 20 years old, and you pay attention to that. In high school, I didn't really have any of those insecurities, thank God, but I know people do, and I'm talking about this for a reason, because this is going to dive into a lot about why I got into this industry. And I'll never forget, I came back from that trip very insecure. And I'm like, man, like, I work out, I love exercising, and I just felt so insecure in a bathing suit all summer with all my friends. And we're like this big. And by no means was I big, but I was bigger than them, right? So, and I remember I weighed myself. And I noticed I had like gained some weight. And I had gained, I don't remember, it was like 8 pounds in the summer. I'm like, oh my gosh. And that was my first awakening to like, what am I putting in my body? And like paying attention to what college kids were putting in their body. Like in college, the freshman 15, well, like that's kind of what was happening. This was my second year of college. And I was in a sorority, and you start paying attention. Girls start talking about their weight. They start talking about all the things and going on a spring break diet and like eating nothing. And I'm like, okay, that was never me, right? So this is what really got me curious about nutrition. And I started studying nutrition, and then I got my personal training certification, and I started training, at the gym, teaching classes. And I was really curious and I wanted to know so much about nutrition, being such a young woman, right? And able to help other people through their nutrition journey. And it's just like a pretty general kind of nutrition course that you take when you get certified. And it was later that I got certified in other nutritional courses and doing sports nutrition and working with athletes and stuff like that. And I'll get into that in a second. But it was such an important part of my journey of feeling confident and being in control and knowing what was going in my body and really living this confident life in college, and doing things healthier than what I was seeing in my circles, at college. People get so stressed out, they don't eat, and they binge drink. I mean, like all of those things. And I never fell into that category, but it was that Greece trip and that awakening to me. I wasn't confident, and I'll never forget, I felt very, very insecure. So fast forward, I became a top trainer at the gym, graduated college. They wanted me to work for the brand. I had a relationship. It was serious. We got engaged, shortly after college. I was then getting a master's in recreation management. I'm like, I want to run my own gym. Like, that was my path. And I started realizing through me now becoming a manager for this corporate gym and running trainers and doing that for a minute, I was like, I do not want to run my own gym. And I was like getting my master's, getting married, gonna run my own gym, and doing management for Bally Total Fitness. And I was like, this is not what I want to do. Like, I love helping and serving people. So about a year after I was doing this management, I'm like, you know what? This is not for me. I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to get back into training. And at the time, this is 2008, you guys, 2009. .coms were like a thing, right? Like the internet was blowing up. And my now then husband at the time was like, why don't you create a website and just train yourself? I was like, what am I going to call it? And he's like, I don't know, like, we're like melinafitness.com. So like, it was the thing. I had my own website, which nobody had their own websites like at my level, like back then, right? Had my own website, went back to just teaching classes at Bally's for fun. And I started training private clients kind of on my own. I got a business license. I got permits with the city of Long Beach. I was doing these boot camps out of the park. Then the university, somebody who I knew through my master's program, where they were building this multi-million-dollar training facility, and they needed elite instructors to teach there. So I started working for the university, teaching fitness classes. I mean, it was unreal. I had so much fun. I had lines out the doors to my classes. I taught courses that were private that they had to get credits for college, and I also taught just general rec classes that were just for students. And I was passionate about I wasn't that much older than these girls, right? I'm like 26, 27, 28. And I worked there for a few years. And then it was amazing because there were some pretty cool elite athletes that would kind of pop through there. One being Misty May-Treanor, and she won Olympic gold back to back. I saw her when I went to the Olympics in 2004, and I knew who Misty May was. I knew that she was from Long Beach, and she would come through the rec center, you guys, and take my spin classes. And after she won her gold in London, she even came and did a guest appearance for my spin class because she would pop into our spin classes and everybody just was like, cheering her on. So that was a really cool moment. I started placing myself in these circles with these elite people, and I knew I had something different because I was going beyond a general fitness trainer now. Like, I was really standing out in my industry. I started volunteering for the expos before the Fit Expo was what it is now. And I would run the group fitness section with a speaker, and people would try to do their group fitness, share their group fitness programs. I mean, you're talking like Billy Blank's days, and he was making his comeback, and there was this like drum workout. Oh my gosh, I forget the name of it. Anybody who was trying to launch a new group fitness class was like presenting in my stage. So I started putting myself in those circles. Like I said, I had my boot camps going on. And then through the expos, I would meet so many different brands. And I would connect with so many different brands. And I would get certified in all things under the sun. And one specific company program called CoreX System really caught my eye because they were all about rehabilitating athletes and core functional movement. And they wanted to bring it to fitness. And it was something that was brought out in the NBA by a renowned trainer, Alex McKechnie, and he really wanted to bring it to general fitness because it was something he was doing to rehabilitate athletes within the Lakers. He was with the Lakers for, I believe, 15, 20 years, and now he's with the Toronto Raptors. He's still around, very renowned athletic trainer, and he created this CoreX system that they still to this day use in a lot of sports and NBA, and we got certified, and we had to work with these now elite trainers they wanted to take, we had these Laker trainer people coming and working with these fitness people because we needed to learn the methods of this CoreX system. So then I became one of them. And so my hands were starting to get involved in so many different circles because, group fitness is really unique. And then the athletic world is like a whole nother thing, right? And then I had my whole little brand going on, and I had my private clients and my boot camps, and I maxed out what a personal trainer could do, like with a brand. Like, at boot camps on the weekends, private clients, like I was thriving. And at this time, I also transitioned. One of the people I knew from Bally's opened up their own private warehouse gym. I started training clients out of there. They were doing some fitness programs out of there. I was doing that as well and working for the university. And then one day, CoreX called me. Hold on. Then everybody at this warehouse gym that I was, working with was doing bodybuilding. Okay, so we're talking like 2012, 11, 12. So now we're like a few years in. I graduated. So I started out in the fitness industry in like 2001, 2002. So here we are, 10 years later. And everyone's like, you should compete. And I was like, you know what? Like, I want to learn that industry. Like, I see all these competitors. Not that I wanted to become the best professional bodybuilder in the world, but I'm like, let me throw myself in this industry because I'm already in the athletic world. I go to NBA Summer League every year. I'm learning all the things about the athletic work. Oh, and in the meantime, I ended up getting my sports nutrition because I started really getting into, like, when I was working with athletes and clients, I'm like, I need to know. My nutrition needs to be on point. So I did get that along the way right after my master's. I'm like, I'm just going to throw myself in this industry too. So let me get into bodybuilding. Just to be relevant. That's why I did it, you guys. I'm like, I'm just going to be relevant and let me just speak and compete. So my boot camps are thriving. I start prepping. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to compete. And I had this idea. I'm like, I'm going to start, and this is like before retreats were a thing. I'm like, I'm going to start this thing because I had a little group, a private group training, aside from my boot camp. It's called Club Fit. And I'm like, I'm going to take these Club Fit trips like abroad, right? So I'm like, okay. So I asked a few of my clients, I'm like, you guys want to do like a Club Fit trip? I'll put together a package. We'll go to Mexico. Great. I get like 7 of my clients. We do this amazing Club Fit trip. And let me also pause here. We're pausing the Club Fit. In the middle of me doing all this, I get a massive network from working at these expos, training, people I knew from college, people just networking in the industry. And I would get calls, several calls to do TV and castings and for fitness stuff. And nothing really took off. I think I got pitched for Biggest Loser 3 times. I got picked up for a set trainer. Then they put me on pause. I mean, I went through the ringer because there's not a lot of fitness television. And fitness television always dies. Like, if you ever noticed that, like, the shows never last. Biggest Loser was like it. And I got connected with some of those circles. So I have a lot of production friends already in LA. You know, we live in LA. It's a small world. Okay. So going back to Club Fit, we go to Mexico. The girls are having the time of their life. Amazing time. It was like a 4-day trip. And while we're there, we run into the cast of a show. And the show is called Vanderpump Rules. And it's like their second season. It's not a big show yet, you know. And one of the cast members took a liking to one of my girls. So we all started kind of hanging out with people on the show. So we were organically filmed. And it was like this whole thing. Fast forward, one of the cast members ends up becoming my client. And it was pretty cool because he was, you know, we're like the same age. This is like a trending show on Bravo. Client, I'm like, this is great for my resume. I'm like, I'm in these circles of these different people. I got athletes I'm working with. I got, you know, some now like, you know, low celebrities, status people that obviously became bigger. We know what Vanderpump became, but it was pretty cool. I felt like I was really thriving in my industry, and I knew I was putting myself and positioning myself in the right places. And so I was pretty confident. I trained this person for a couple years. I ended up helping develop a fitness app for them. I started making even bigger connections. And along the way, I did my fitness competition journey. I threw myself in the bodybuilding mix, and right around maybe my second or third year, kind of in that mix, I got a phone call from CoreX that they wanted this athletic training program in Europe, and they wanted me to go. And I'm Greek American, and I'm like, duh, like the Greek national soccer team was buying CoreX systems, so they sent me there to train. So I go to Greece. I was just accelerating, and I was just taking off, and I started traveling to Greece, and I was training these trainers on using it, and I'm working with these pro soccer players, and they wanted in Italy, and I ended up going to Italy. I mean, it was a lot of back and forth, and kind of through that, the base of my training and my boot camps and all that, I had to kind of let a lot of that go, and I started trying to pursue these bigger things and these bigger roles and castings and training athletes. And I mean, I was working with Paradigm Sports Management, and we started working with MLS because of what I was doing in Europe. I had such a massive network. They wanted to start bringing these soccer players, and fast forward, Paradigm Sports Management is who reps Conor McGregor. This is when Conor McGregor was blowing up. So the networks and the people that I was like putting myself in, it was like amazing. Through all that, and I launched my Club Fit International in Greece. I started taking clients to Greece, and production companies wanted to pick it up as a show idea. And I was like, this is amazing. Like, I was really felt like I was doing the right things, but the right things weren't like popping off yet, you know, like the right thing didn't pop off for me. Like, what measures success, right? Throughout that, I started losing myself a little bit. There was like pieces of me that started kind of getting chiseled away. I was kind of spreading myself all over again, and I was in a relationship. I was married. I think I told you guys that, and it fell apart, you know, along the way, and I really lost myself. And it was in 2017, excuse me, where I knew that a big shift was coming. There was like heaviness on me, right? And I was feeling stuck, and I was feeling like, you know, I had done all these things, but nothing really exploded. And I was starting to ask myself why. And it was really heavy on me. And I got separated in 2018, and a lot of things really started to shift in my life. I did, in the meanwhile, pick up a big sponsor. I was working for Optimum Nutrition, one of the biggest supplement companies in the world. I went to every fitness expo and traveled with them. They even hosted a Club Fit trip for me in Greece. It was a sweepstakes on a tub of protein. That really does exist, and those trips really do happen because I hosted one and took 6 people to Greece. And a year separated at that point. And, you know, I got back from that trip. After I was in Greece for that summer, actually, Barry's contacted me. to be a founding trainer out of a new studio. And so that became very journey, but my life was falling apart. Then that happened, and I really kind of had to sit, and I'm like, you know what? This is the perfect time for me to really sit and figure out what direction I want to go with my career and with my life. So 2018, 2019 was my last Club Fit trip, and we all know what happened in 2020 and the world shut down. And I am going to wrap this up here soon, and I don't want to leave you guys on a hook, but when I went through my divorce, there were some big transitions, and there were some internal things that I knew going forward that I needed to fix before my career could take off, like really take off to the place that I really wanted it to go. And I lost a lot and went through a lot, but I really found myself. And it's weird because through my divorce, it took me back to that insecure place of that first summer in Greece where I was like really insecure, and which is normal. A lot of people that go through divorce, I mean, it takes a toll on you. But not only did I lose that relationship and I had to mourn that relationship, I lost a lot of friends. And the people that were in my life, there were people that I lost in my life that were like, I thought were going to be in my life forever, you know? The friends that I had those Greece trips with that, you know, but isn't it crazy? It's funny how sometimes the people that made you feel the most insecure, you know, God will remove people and relationships from your life for a reason so that you can kind of really, you know, peel away your onion and get to the core of who you are and what you're meant to be doing. And I knew there was a bigger purpose coming. And so the berries journey began. It was amazing. I started working for several different apps. You know, I don't want to fast forward too much, but during COVID and all that, like fitness apps were thriving. I was filming, I was shooting a lot of content. I was thriving during COVID. Clients, I started picking up more clients again. You know, I've constantly always evolved my website and my newsletter and things like that. And in 2021, I spent the summer in Greece again and was thinking about bringing my Club Fit back as COVID was starting to the world was starting to get back to normal. So in the next year or two, and I got pregnant with my daughter. So a new life and a new journey did come. And, you know, here I am today. I'm 11, almost 11 months next week, 11 months postpartum with my second. And I live in a new city, and I did a whole rebrand. Because like I said, when I started this episode, the last 3.5 years, I feel like I've been on pause. And I had to go through that for a reason. And so I'm here today, the Melina Method Podcast, going to be sharing a lot more details from everything that I just shared with you right now, piggybacking on that through different various episodes of methods that I've created along the way to help you get unstuck, to help you feel confident, to connect your nutrition to your mindset, to talk about relationships and how that affects everything you do. Having kids, postpartum, I mean, let's get into it. Social life, all the things that can distract us, relate friendships, right? So this podcast is going to unravel a lot, and I'm super grateful and excited to be here. And this is just the beginning. So we'll see you guys soon. Thanks for tuning in to the Melina Method Podcast. I hope you're fired up to make a shift in your life. That's the whole point. So if this episode spoke to you, subscribe to my weekly insider. It's melinafitness.com/subscribe. It's all the fun things that you want to get to know me and know what's coming up and what's the latest tea on the Melina Method. So I will see you guys next time.